Hey everybody, Dave Clark, aka the Pattern Guy. We're in the pattern shop again. We're going to be here for a little bit. Like I said, I have 3 patterns I got to build and one that we have to repair. Alright, so here's the one that we first started. That's the one Brian's arm that we're doing here. Okay, this is all built. It's not finished. Like I said in the other video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build all 3 patterns and then I'm going to finish them all together. Okay, it'll be a little bit easier. So this one's all built, ready to get finished. Okay, I'm going to put that aside and we're going to start this one up here next. I was going to do I got one that I got to make 2 off of. We're going to pour a mold in that. I was laying that out yesterday and I need some more information on it. Not everything's on the drawing, so I got to call my customer and get some info going here. So anyhow, here's the one we're going to start. I didn't do the 2 views. I'll show you as we're going along. It's fairly easy. But the reason why I want to show you what I'm doing here is that I'll show you there's a couple ways we could go about doing this. I'm going to make this out of mahogany again for the strength of it and that, okay, and longevity. So anyhow, we'll do this out of mahogany. I got some last night. Before I took off, I started gluing some wood up in that. It just it's not so much glued up. I got to make these cylinders. They're 7 inches long, I believe. 3 inches diameter, 7 inches long, and what I did was I spot glued them again. Okay, so how we're gonna get started with this? If you can see this part here, that's 3/8 up there, 3/8 down here. This middle rib, it's a rib in between 2 cylinders. Okay, so this rib is 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so we got to split that in half at 3/8 and 3/8. Okay, so 2 ways I could do this. What I could do is I could make these cylinders here and then just put a little piece of 3/8 in the middle. Alright, but that's not going to be very strong. Alright, so what I'm going to do is we're going to make this 3/8 piece all the way out to the end of the cylinders, and then we're just going to put this little sliver on top of that. That way this pattern will be way much stronger. Okay, so you look at this, you look at the drawing, and this is just, it's all ribs basically in between 2 cylinders. Alright, so we got to make a core box with these. These are I think 1 3/4 holes are going to go through here with finish. I think it's 2-inch hole, but we'll make it around 1 3/4-ish, somewhere around there. So we got to make a core box also. But anyhow, with these, like I said, what we could do is just make the cylinders, hazy, and put this in between, but that's just not going to be strong enough. Alright, we might get away with it on the top because there's ribs that are going to connect them also, but this bottom one, all will be is, we'll have that 3/8 little piece there, which is making contact with each other, and to me that won't be strong enough. Even though this is going to go on a match plate, they're not going to do that many of them, but I'd still rather not do it like that. So we're going to go ahead, make a 3/8 piece thick, the width of the pattern. Alright, I'll lay that out, put the centers on there, and then I got some stock glued up, just spot glued so I can pop them off. Okay, we'll turn the cylinders on the sander. And that's the other thing too. With this, you could probably turn them if you wanted to, but this is, I can get them anchored enough sanding them, so I'm just going to sand them. So that's what we're going to do today, and hopefully we'll make a good progress on that. We'll get going on this shortly. Alright, so hang tight, and I'll get some 3/8 stock out and we'll get going on this. Alright, hang tight. Okay everybody, what I did was these are the pieces that I spot glued yesterday. We're going to make cylinders out of those. Okay, and then I got 2 pieces of 3/8 stock for these ribs in between here, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay out the centers of everything. We're gonna put centers on everything, okay? I have already done that. We're only gonna do it on 1/2 for now, okay? Because if I do it to both pieces, it's gonna be more difficult for me to line all the center lines up, and since there's 3 center lines, if one's off a little bit, it's kind of gonna throw me off a little bit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the same as we did to the other one. We're gonna build the 1/2 first, then we're gonna mount the we'll pin the other half to the half that's built already, and then we'll build from there, okay? That way we'll be able to trace the center lines all the way around, all right? I could go ahead, I could go pin these right now and get them all the way around. The only thing if you do that is, sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. Mostly I'll do it with like large jobs, real big jobs where I'm not gonna be able to get the pattern underneath the drill press, or both halves of the pattern underneath the drill press. So a lot of times what we'll do is, I'll say we don't use plywood. I'll use plywood kind of for like a filler underneath board. All right, and then what we'll do is we'll book the 2 pieces of plywood together, drill the locator pin holes, and then go from there. So if you can see here, why I do this is I gotta drill these all the way through, all right? And then what's gonna happen is we're gonna take this up to the foundry. He's gonna show us how, you know, how big of a match plate board to put this on. And then what we'll do is we'll mount this half onto the match plate and drill these holes all the way through, okay? So if I just have these 2 and I drill the holes, it's gonna be hard for me to, you know, put the hole all the way through, okay? So that's why we do that. All right, so anyhow, I got these, I got this center board, I got the centers to my cylinders on there, and I got the cylinder, the whole, or center to the whole pattern on here, okay? So next what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do these cylinders. Like I said, we're gonna sand these things. I could turn them. It's a little bit more work. What I'm gonna do here is, like I said, a lot of times instead of doing, let me see if I can draw this side. This would be looking in the side here, okay? So we got the cylinder coming out like this, all right? And then there's a hole going through here, so we got to put core print on. All right, so we'll have a core print, and this will be parting down here, okay? All right, so we'll make the core print. All right, so that's what I'm going to do here. This thing kind of sticks up. I think it comes up like this, and then it comes down like that. All right, so to make this cylinder here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the overall length, and instead of putting draft wholly on each side, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add like about 3/32 on to each side. Okay, and then here, let me do a close-up of what we're going to do here. All right, we'll do a close-up. Let's say this cylinder, let's make it real big so you guys can see. All right, so instead of putting draft all the way down, okay, which you can do it. However, what I do, and especially since these are smaller, we're going to add like 3/32 onto the length. Okay. We'll add like 3/32 on here. Let's put our core print out. We can put plenty of draft on the core print. That's not going to affect the pattern. And the reason I want to put minimal draft on here too is because machining or whatever. Okay, so what we'll do is this core print will go through here. Okay, you got your hole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put what's called radial draft on. All right, and we're going to go from the core print out. So instead of this big chunk of draft here, we're just going to have a little bit of draft around the core print there. okay? That's the way I like to do it. That's a lot of the older guys that, you know, to make a nicer pattern, a lot of times you use radial draft, right? So that's what we're going to do. So the length of this, the overall length of this pattern is, it's 6.5. So we'll make it, you know, we'll add like 3/32 on to each end for some radial draft. So 3/32, 3/32, 3/16. So 3/16 on to the 6.5, okay? So we'll do that. So what that's 11/16. So we'll make it like 6 and 11/16. So what I'm going to do is, these are already split down the center, okay? These are here, all right? I've already got 2 pieces, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a square. Where's my square? Put a square line. All right, get my square line, and then I'm going to cut them to length first. And I got to make sure these are square, because what I'm going to do is right away, I want to make sure I'm going to get everything here. I kind of rough glued these things up here. So, all right, so I want to make sure that these are nice and square, because when I sand them, I'm going to sand them straight up and down. All right, so if they're not perfectly square, you know, if they're cocked a little bit, I'm going to have, you know, this end I'll have like, you know, 1.5 inches, and this end I might have 1 5/8 inches. We don't want that. It's got to be perfectly square. All right, so we'll do the 6 and 11/16 here, and different ways you can do it. The way I'm going to do it, I got the mark on the one. Make sure it's right, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put these 2 together. Ooh, wow, that's way different height-wise. Let's not do it that way. I'm going to miss it here. So we're going to just measure it. It'll be close enough for now. Okay. So there's that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these over to the bandsaw, cut them, and then I'll sand them. And then what we'll do from there is we'll put centers all the way around. We can check them like that. They look pretty darn good. Okay. Let me go cut these, square them up, and I'll show you the next step. All right, hang tight, guys. Okay, guys, I got both my blocks. I got a flat edge on them, and I got 2 square sides. That way, when I lay this out, I'm gonna lay the circle out on this thing. I'm gonna be able to sand them good. Okay, so I got halfway. I'm hazy. I'm gonna put a mark all the way around. Okay, now the thing with this center right now, it really doesn't matter on the length, because it's going to disappear. I'm just going to put it on there. It would be really good if it was on the inside and the parting line. However, you know, we couldn't do that, because like I said, to match that up and seeing everything square would have been kind of difficult. So what's going to happen is we're going to actually have these on the edge. We'll have those, and we'll be able to match them up and strike a line, and that'll be on the underneath here, the parting line. Okay, so that's something real important. Okay, and like I said, we already have the parting line on here already, so I don't have to, you know, put an alternate or a reverse side line. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is one of the things I saw here too. Like I said, you kind of, as things develop, you kind of change your mind the way you want to do things and that. I'm good with the way I'm going to do things, but I want to explain something here to you. If, like I said, if I was going to do, if this casting, if they needed thousands of these castings, I was just going to make it wood. Since I do have a lathe, I would go ahead and do them on the lathe, because what I could do is I could actually turn this core print right on there and it's done. Okay, a lot of you guys aren't going to have lathes for a while, and then so we're you know going to be up to here, right, this line. So we're going to have to add a core print on later, which, you know, I'm going to have to glue these on. You could put a screw in there. That's probably one of the things I'll do. I'll probably screw these on. You don't need to really, like I said, or you know, when you mount them, it would be a good thing. This is probably the way I'll do it. We'll probably mount the patterns to the match plate through the core print. All right, that way you're not messing, you know, you're not putting extra marks on your, you know, on your pattern, and then that should help hold the core prints on there. So that's probably the way we'll do that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I got my layout. It looks exactly like this, minus I got my borehole on there. Okay, and then I got a good 1/8 of an inch finish on there too. All right, and like I say, I always just fill this in with green for machining. So this is the way I do my layouts. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the outside of the pattern, strike an arc there, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm even though the center line's there, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the line on there for the core print. That way, you know, little extra. You know, it doesn't hurt to do a little extra, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do those, and then I'm going to cut them, sand them, and then I'll show you how we're going to start putting this thing together. Okay, hang tight, guys. Hey, good morning, guys. It's been a couple days since I filmed here. We're working on this job right here. I actually got a casting for it. And like I said, it's always nice to have the casting plus the drawing. What happened is, this is when we were working on that arm too, found a couple discrepancies on the drawing as I'm working on it. And here, you know, that was it. So took a couple days. We got a couple castings. The one that I wanted to start first, I should have gotten into that one, but we were into this one. That one had a lot of differences on the drawing, so it was missing a lot of information. So that's why we didn't do that. I got a casting for that also. Okay, real quick before we get started today, we're going to continue on with this pattern. I'm going to show you some stuff real quick. Finally, they're in. I got them. We'll show you how they work. They work really good. These are for guys that haven't seen or heard yet. Stick those in a drill press with a pressure sensitive adhesive on it, and you can surface, if I need to make this small piece parallel, perfectly parallel, which you always want to do when you're pattern making, I can't put this through the planer. It's too small. Okay, so we would use that surface block. Okay, I'm gonna make them available. I don't know how Joe's gonna do it. Joe's gonna do it. I guess he'll put it on the link, I guess, or something. We got that in. I only have a couple of them for right now. I got like 20 of them. I'll do more here. Real quick too, we went to a tool show, not tool show, tool sale. A tool company went out of business by us, and my son-in-law came with me. He's a pencil pusher, but we ended up, he's interested in tools and that, so we went and just looking around. Most of it was, it really wasn't that great. So the guy had some good deals, and this is typical. You know, he's got some stuff that's worth nothing he wanted a lot for. He had some stuff that was worth a lot he didn't want anything for. I got some carbide inserts, a couple things, but John was putzing around, and like I said, he doesn't know tools, but he saw this. That's a cool Porter cable. It's the Guild brand, or Guild series of tools that they had. They did these in the 50s. That's pretty cool. So he bought this for me. I collect old tools in that, so he bought that for me. Came in the box in it, and he, you know, he got a heck of a deal on this thing. I mean, it should still work. It doesn't have a cord on it. I can put a cord on it, no big deal. I probably won't, because like I said, I just want to, you know, put it on the shelf and that. But it came with a real nice steel box and then on it, so that's kind of cool. That's nice of him. Nice of him to do that. So yeah, let's get back to this project we're working on here. All right, so I showed you two ways to. This was one of the issues we had. Okay, so I was making these cylinders that just has the 2 cylinders that goes along there, right? So we'll put this back up here again. Ooh, why isn't this working? Oh, hang on, let me get another marker, see what's going on here. Hang tight, guys. Let's see if this will work here. I don't know what's going on there. There we go. Okay. So we got our 2 circles. Got our 3/4 inch. And then we got this big boss up here. And then I think there's some ribs. Okay, and then there's holes going through here. Okay, so what I did was I was showing different ways to make these cylinders. Okay, all right, and I'm trying to. I keep on forgetting. Like I said, I got a for the most part, fully equipped shop. I forget, guys are just starting out. It's when I'm gearing it to, and I keep on forgetting to go back to the easy way for you guys. Lathe would be number 1 way to do these things. I know most guys don't have lathes, so you're gonna have to get 2 pieces. All right, so like I said, what I usually do is I get 2 pieces like that, just put like 2 or 3 dabs of glue, just push them together and leave them. That's called a spot glue. Okay, then I'll lay all my centers out and put my radius on there. Okay, but the thing with this is if you can remember, this is 3/8 here and 3/8 here. All right, and for strength purposes, what we're going to do is we're going to have our piece of 3/8 stock, and then we're going to add that radius on top. Okay, so it's not a full radius. So what we ended up doing was, like I said, there's several different ways you could do this. Okay, what you could do is you can I showed you 2. I'll show you another one. Okay, so what you could do is you could have your circle, right? You could strike your arc on there, all right? But like I said, we got to take 3/8 and 3/8 away. So what you could do is you could just put a 3/8 line here into sand, cut and sand that off. A lot of you guys aren't going to have the capability of it. Like I said, this is I'm starting out with 7 inches high. A lot of guys don't have the larger sanders, so this is no problem for me. So it's I can do that. Okay. So one of the things I suggested was get 2 3/8 thick pieces and spot glue them in between your other, this would look kind of like this, right? And then you'd have your piece of wood would come out here, right? Then you strike your arc on there, cut this out, and then, here, this would be done, right? So we'll get rid of that. So now you got your circle. Then what you could do is just pop these 2 3/8 pieces off, okay? And then that's all we need is from here to here, right, to stick on here. The other way you could do it, but like I said, it's going to be hard for you guys because it's kind of higher. You could just put a 3/8 line, do the full circle and, glue these together, put your center lines, strike your, go cut it out, sand it, pop them back off, put a 3/8 line on there and cut them and sand them again. But like I said, that's pretty tall for a lot of guys, just starting out to do it. Okay, the other way that I didn't mention, and it's kind of the same deal, but what I'm doing right now is I glued this block up, okay? So I got the 2 blocks glued up, all right, and I made it wide enough to make 2, all right. So I put my center lines going down here. All right, so what I did, instead of laying out my radius, it's like 3 inches. Okay, so instead of putting an 1.5 inch radius on my dividers, inscribing my arc, you know, give me 3 inches, what I did was I came down 3/8, you know, I went 3/8 off the center, both sides. Okay, and then you take your 1.5 inch radius, you know, and mark them each side. So that's what I'm doing this time. That way it'll save you, you know, you don't have to, it saves a step of having to cut that extra 3/8 out and sanding it, or, you know, like I said, just getting the 3/8 pieces and gluing them on it. That's kind of a waste in that, but I think for a lot of guys that's probably easier for guys just starting out, as far as being able to sand them and finish them and stuff like that. So that's a couple different ways you could do it. Like I said, there's tons of different ways we could do all this stuff. So I'll always try to find ways, different ways, and I, you know, like I said, I've been doing this for so long, I just got it in my head how I'm going to do things, and I forgot to tell you guys how to do them in an easier way, or if you don't have, you know, 24-inch disc sander or whatever, you know. So one of the things you could do is, to get some height, you could get a belt sander. The only thing with the belt sanders, you're not going to get the accuracy as much, you know, with those. So it's, see if you can pick up a disc sander somewhere fairly cheap. Like I said, I really don't care for Grizzly because it's foreign manufacturer, but they do make halfway decent stuff, halfway decent prices, and it, you know, for starting out, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do, you know. So anyhow, I got those laid out. All right, I'm gonna go cut these and sand them. You've seen me cut and sand numerous times, so we're gonna try to save some time on videos. I got these 2 other pieces. Okay, these 2 pieces I got just roughed out. Okay, these got little bosses down here that actually, you know, this radius comes all the way around here, and then this, you know, goes the whole length here too. So I got a piece for those, and then what I'll do with this, I'm going to put my center lines all the way around this. Okay, and it's important, don't forget, when you put your center lines on here, mark what side that you work from, because this isn't parallel yet. Okay, so I gotta make sure I remember which side I take all my measurements and marks from, because as I said, I'll start laying something out here, use my thumb gauge, and then put it down, come back, and I flip it or something, and it's gonna be off, you know. So mark all your stuff all the time, you know, 1, 2, 3, so you know where things go, and then mark where your mark your flat face of what you where you take all your measurements from. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and then this piece is for this piece. This actually, like I said, I'm not a CAD drawing, you know, this piece comes up and it kind of goes down here somehow, you know. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to lay this piece out like that too, and then like I said, we'll once I start laying this stuff out, I'll turn the camera back on and show you where I'm going with all this stuff. All right, I already got this one laid off, but you can see what I'm saying. How, I don't know if you can see the parting line in here. There's the parting line, and then I went up 3/8, struck my radius. You know, came down 3/8, struck my radius here. All right, so I'll cut those out. We'll start laying these pieces out and cut them out. This thing should go together fairly quick, I'm hoping. So, and then there's a couple ribs in here too. We'll do the ribs, all right? So, you know, we're doing pretty good time-wise today in that too. So let's see what we can get done for the rest of the day. All right, hang tight, guys. Okay, guys, we're getting ready to lay out this centerpiece right here, okay? So what I do, I got a rough piece of stock. It's not, you know, it's all oversized, all right? So first what I'm going to do, here's the thing too, like I said, you just decision after decision after decision, okay? And you try not to paint yourself in the corner, okay? So for me personally, I think this, I'll try to draw this, okay? So what this looks like, there's our parting line here, okay? It comes around, where are we here? Like this. And then it comes down a little bit. It's got an angle there, and then it's got an angle that comes down, and then we're down like this, okay? So the decision you have to make is what side to cut first, all right? Don't forget, every time we make a piece, we have to put draft on it, okay? So if you take this piece, it's supposed to be, I believe, 1.25 inches, something like that. Okay, so if I take that piece and I go ahead and make the 1.25 inches, add my draft on there, okay? Then I lay this out, I go to sand it, well, that's on an angle. So this top part, this surface, that's going to be on an angle. Okay, so this particular piece, I think it would be best and easier if we go ahead, cut this out, and then add our draft on there. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to start laying this thing out. Okay, according to the drawing here, is what they did was there's going to be a hole through here that we don't have to worry about. Okay, that's going to get machined in there later. So there's a center that goes through here, all right, and there's a center this height. Okay, so we're working off of, this is the parting line right here, okay. So what I'm going to do is this particular piece, I went ahead and I squared one side up really good, okay. Now to do this, make sure that you do get this square if you do it the way I'm doing it right now. Okay, so I've got, like I said, here's how I mark. This is my flat edge that I went off of, okay? So I made sure this is square, and what you can do, I don't think I showed you this trick, look up to the light, and if you can see any light coming underneath your blade here, alright, you're looking for light coming out. If you can see light, any kind of light there, it's not square. I can't see any light, so that's perfectly square. Alright, so one of the things I could do, I did put, this is 1.16 inches from here to here. However, we got to add draft, and we got to add some finish to this also too. That's the other thing. Alright, so I'm looking at the casting, and what it does is it just machines off from the center here down, you know, and then there's the bottom there too, okay? So that whole thing gets machined. So what happens is if I basically bring this out 1/8 of an inch and then add, I'm going to have like a little chunk here, right? So I don't really want that. When they machine it, or it's just going to be a pain in the butt for the guys to machine after. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it up to the center, add a little bit of machine stock there, okay? That's all we're going to do there. It's going to look kind of a little funky, but it's going to be easier for the guys to machine. And then it's going to be easier for the radius to blend. It should come right to that tangency right there, okay? So I'm going to do that, and then we'll lay this out. All these are, I basically think on here, yeah, it's all points, okay? So it's like 3/4 of an inch from the parting line up to here, and then it's, you know, 4 inches from here to here. All right, and then they got a height here also. Where's the height? Oh, that's the height. That's actually the height of the radius here, okay? So, which is, what did we say that was? It's an inch and 3/8, okay? So that's how we're gonna lay all that stuff out, all right? From here to here's 2.5, 2.5. Oh, here, real quick. While I'm doing the 2.5 or 2.5, that's another thing we'll get into eventually. All right, we generally, as pattern makers, we use fractions, okay? You still got to learn the decimals. I learned a lot of the decimal stuff when I was going through machine trades and that, okay? So hopefully most of the younger guys, home math is way different now. You divide the bottom number by the top number, or top number by the bottom number. Okay, and that's what you get your decimal point. I forget it's a divisor, right? And the denominator and divisor, I think is what it's called. Should have looked that up before I started. But anyhow, that's how you get your decimal points, right? So most, and like I keep on saying too, it's rare we get pattern drawings. 9 times out of 10, I'm working from machine drawings. All right, so I'm gonna digress here a little bit, but let's do this real quick. I'll try to make a real quick little lesson, little chalk talk thing here. All right, so what was happening on these drawings is they're machine drawings. Okay, so going through machine trades and learn a machine, I'll teach you this. Watch other machine guy, A-Bomb79, I watch that dude all the time. He's phenomenal, I like that guy a lot. Here, what you do is, like I said, we work in fractions, like, right, 1/2. 1/2 equals, we'll do the 0.500. And so we're not going to do tenths. All right, so what it is 2 divided by 1 is 0.5, right? So here, when a machinist is machining something, the level of accuracy, the farther out your digits go, the more accurate this has got to be. Most drawings, and especially from when I started, when my dad was doing work, they were using fractions hugely, and it literally, you're plus or minus 1/8 of an inch. I mean, the machinery is getting way better at everything. People want higher tolerances right now. Okay, so what's happening is guys are getting into tenths right now. I know A-Bomb does the tenths a lot. All right, so anyhow, if you're looking at the drawing, so what happens is, I'm looking at this drawing here, in the way you can tell, another thing here too, okay? Say, I'm making this block, all right? All right, so it's going to be as cast except for one surface. All right, so what they'll do is you'll put a drawing here, say, 1 inch 500 thousandths. All right, so what they'll do is whatever surface has to be finished. If you're doing this, it's going to be both. Okay, so they'll put like a little F mark, or that's finish mark, or there's a few other finish marks. We'll do that later. I don't want to get too far into this. Okay. What I was on this drawing, since it's a machine drawing, mostly, not always, but mostly, the dimensions that go 3 digits out are going to be finished. All right, so that's what I was seeing on this. So some of the dimensions on here, it was 1, 1.5, whatever. But a few of them had the 3 digits out, so knowing that, it's like, this has got, probably has to be machined, but it didn't specify this on a drawing. Always make sure, because what happened was, sure enough, I, called my customer and said, hey, look, this doesn't have, finish marks on it, and I told them what I just told you. So he called his customer. Luckily, they had some castings, and sure enough, there things that I thought should have machining on them, they had machining on them. Yeah, I lucky, but I don't want to take that chance. You know, I don't want to make this pattern go have it cast like that arm casting. That's probably going to be a couple $100 casting. So if I make that pattern, they take it to a foundry, they get it cast, take it to the machine shop, they start setting it up, you know, to machine it, and there's no stock there, we're in trouble. You know, they got a scrap casting, and, you know, a couple $100 casting, and they can get tens of thousands of dollars too. All right, so that's one of the things you got to really watch out with all this stuff. Okay, so we'll do that one of these days. We'll do some dimensioning, and I guess we'll do another drawing. It kind of has stuff to do with drawings. Okay, so yeah, let's get back on this thing. So what I did was, like I said, there's a couple different ways we could do this. I got I erased it. Okay. Let's draw that again. Alright. Oh, silly me. Okay. We got our parting line. Like I say, I always like to do a little P and an L. Alright, so we're coming up here, down a little bit more of an angle. Alright, so I want this center for this hole. Alright. So what I did was, I got my blank piece of wood. I'm actually doing this backwards right now. I made sure I had this perfectly square, alright? I'm just going to use my thumb gauge. And I'm going to wrap this center line all the way around, okay? Do it all the way around. Okay, it's going to disappear on these big sizes where I'm sand some draft on, but it'll be at least on the bottom, and then we can transfer them back up if we have to, but we shouldn't have to, okay? Because like I said, then that'll make like a little divot for your finished casting, okay? You don't want that to do. All right, so then from here up, I think, what did I say that was? It was 2.5. All right, so I'll measure up my 2.5, okay? I'll get that. You can make a center all the way if you want, but it's just, we just got to strike this radius with this, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. I'm going to go ahead and do it real quick. But like I said, okay, I used the thumb gauge to do that, okay? The other way I showed you guys the other day, take your square, make your square line, and then you take your square, hit that other line, and then you just do it all the way around, okay? You can lose a little accuracy that way if you're off a little bit. So a lot of guys like to use the thumb gauge. The only thing with the thumb gauge, if that's not perfectly square this way or this way, center lines would be off too, so things got to be perfectly square, okay, in order to do that. So I've got this center point here, okay, so on a drawing, and then we'll check it with our, whatchamacallit. Actually, this is a little funky. I'm lying to you. Okay, so what we got to do too, it's a little funky here, okay, it's not, actually we're not doing a true radius, it's actually spread out a little bit. Alright, so another dimension we got to get up there, we'll get the top, it's 1.125, which is 1.8 inch, right? So we'll go ahead and put the, and that's a thing too, like I said, usually, I think with the new computer drawings, what they're doing a lot, usually should go from the center line up, all right, but that's, you're going to get both ways, and it's different, but for a tree, because like what I'm saying is if you, you go put this center line here, and if you're off there a little bit, you can't do that, it's going to be off again, you know. So what you can do is, it's, this bottom dimension is 2 1/4, which is 2.25, okay? So you just add 3, and it'd be 375, which is 3/8, all right? So you can measure from the bottom, your parting line up, 3 3/8. Oh, making a mistake here, okay? So the other thing, I'm laying everything out from this parting line, right? Almost did it again. We're gonna lay everything out from this parting line. I need to take 3/8 off of this parting line for right here too, so don't forget that. Alright, let's put that line on there real quick so that we don't forget to do that, okay? But the reason I'm doing it, from the parting line, and I'm doing it from the parting line instead of, you know, dropping it, and then I'm going to have to do math on all the dimensions, and if I do the math incorrectly, then that's kind of going to crap me up again too. So doing it off the parting line where all the dimensions are taken, and then we'll just cut this 3/8 off. All right, it's kind of a little better thing. Okay, and then another thing you can do too, so you don't forget, I don't know if that ever happens to you, it happens to me all the time. Okay, so here's my parting line, here's that 3/8 line. I gotta take all this stock off. So put some little hash marks down there so that you can remember I gotta take that off. Alright, so anyhow, we got this one line up on the top here. Alright, and then what we're gonna do is basically from, and I forget, I had to lay this out. It's just really weird how this does it. I don't think there's some dimensions on how to get that, so I had to kind of funky that one a little bit. That's another thing too, and this is where it's hard in pattern making. It's hard to get into pattern making, hard to get a shop going on your own, because what happens is most of the foundries, they already got a pattern shop you're working for already, and there's got to be huge trust between a foundry and a pattern maker. You know, you got to know that the guy's skilled, you know, in it. And the other part of it, there's a degree of kind of artistry to this too, where you know, some of the dimensions don't add up, and there'll be like a little bit of a, you know, piece left or whatever. You know I gotta, like, you know, take that out, or, you know, there's a little bit of pattern maker's gotta know when he can kind of take something upon himself to do, you know. So, and then that the foundry's gotta trust you to do it, you know. All right, so there's that. This is one of those things, right? So from here over, that's an inch and a 1/16 from here over, but we gotta have draft on there too, right? So, and that's what it is. Go 1/16, and I think the radius in there, it's like a 3/4 radius, so that's where you couldn't strike this. So this isn't a true like 1.5 inches. It's got to go over a little bit. And usually what they'll do, what they should have done here is that they should have had 2 center lines, or just another little center here, and just the dimension that it went over. Okay, but unfortunately they didn't, so we kind of gotta play with it a little bit there. So, all right, I'll get my 1 and my 1/16 back, and then what we're gonna do is let me put this on here. I'm gonna get this on, put some radius on. I gotta take care of something. Hang tight for a sec. Okay, guys, sorry about that. I had to go take care of something real quick. All right, so continuing to lay this out. All right, so what we got going here is I'm just gonna add up all my dimensions and go where I gotta go. Okay, and like I said, I'm gonna partially work off my layout, partially work off the drawing. That way I can double check myself. Okay, and the thing, like I said, the way why I do that is because I don't have anybody here. All the job shops I've ever worked at, you lay your job out and have somebody check your layout. Okay, I don't have anybody here to do that, so I continue to go back to the drawing, back forth. That way I double check myself. Okay, So next dimension I'm going to get, from here to here. I'll look on it's 750, so that's 3/4. So I'm going to measure up 3/4, and like I said, we're working off of the parting line still. Okay, don't forget that. So I'll put my mark there, okay. And then the overall length is 6 inches, I know that. Alright, so I got the one end done. Alright, so I'm going to go do my 6, oh I'm sorry, no it's not, it's 6.5 inches. Okay, so I got my 6.5 inches. I'm going to put a mark there. Alright, grab my square. I'm going to put a square line, okay. However, I got a draft on there, and I'm going to lay the draft out on there because I can sand it out, okay? And I'll show you in a second. But I got to add 1/8 of an inch for my finish, okay? So I'm going to add a little 1/8 of an inch mark. But why I put the square line first, I want to take the dimension from up here, not down here, okay? Because I want to add my draft, okay? So that's why I did that. All right, so I'm there right now. All right, put my 2 degrees on here. 2 degrees draft we're working with. All right, so I'm at my top dimension. I added an 1/8 for finish, and then I'm gonna strike my line here. Okay, so I'm there. Okay, next thing, I gotta go from here to this. Is 4 inches, I believe. It's 4 inches. Okay. So now, like I said, I just added my draft on here. Make sure you take it from here over, okay? So I got that line on there. Okay. Take my square. I'm just using this for a reference point. Okay, now the next dimension, how do we get, oh, all right, this dimension here, there's no dimension on a drawing, but it's the same height as these two, which they are 2 3/8, so half of that is 1 3/16, right? So there again too, you gotta remember that comes up from the whatchamacallit. Let me double check on it. I'm sorry, it's 2/875, so it's 1 3/8. Alright, so 1 3/8. That. Then I've got this point here and I've got this point, so I'm gonna strike my line here, okay? So we get my thing here, and then another thing here real quick. Stupid things. When you are making your lines, I've told you numerous times, it's watch your fingers, okay? All right, don't use aluminum. It's funny, and it's kind of hard to explain. Aluminum will grab, this is steel, all right, and it's sharp, so it'll cut into the aluminum. So a guy cut his fingers really bad. Okay, now the next thing. I can't remember how I did this. There's no specific angle here, and like I said, there's no dimensions. I forgot how I laid it out. It coincides with the casting real well, so I'm going to cheat a little bit with that, and I'm going to use, this is where you can go ahead and use your layout, right? Alright, so I'm going to get the angle on there. Alright. Mark this on there. Okay, got that. Alright, now I already did the 3/4 radius here. I got my divider set. So basically what it is right now I have, and this is something you guys got to learn, okay? So there's a straight line coming across here, and there's a straight line coming up here. Alright, so what you got to do is, I know for sure we'll be going 3/4 down here. So you can, we were 3/4 down here for this and 3/4 away. So you can measure that, 3/4, for me, it's just easy. I just take my dividers and you know, go 3/4 down, okay, and then strike my arc. Find my center with my dividers. Okay, you basically have to do it on this side. Okay, you know you're 3/4 down, so you can get that mark. But when you swing your arc, you got to kind of find where the tangent of your arc's going to hit this line. All right, so you're going to have to adjust it a little bit. Okay. So it's kind of putzing around a little bit, but that's just the way you got to do it. All right. So 3/4 down already. I know where that center's at. I got to move it over a little bit more. Oops. There you go. All right. There you go. Hit it. Beautiful. All right. So we'll darken that one up. All right. Now I'll show you what I got. Okay, so here we go. We got this all laid out. Okay, I don't know if you can see this. We got that 4-inch. This is the end. I got my added stock to it, but I put this line up because I wanted to take my line plus draft from up here. Okay, here is what I was saying. We had the line coming all the way up. We got this height line here. I had my 3/4 center down here to strike this arc here, so I kind of had to put my compass point here, or my divider point here, and then strike an arc, and you kind of got to move it back and forth to see where you're going to hit the tangency of that's going to hit this line here, okay? And then here, down here, is we got to have finish here, plus we have to have finish on here plus draft. Okay, so here's where the radius comes around. So if I were to go ahead and, you know, put that out, where do I stop that? You know, so I'm just gonna stop it at the tangency of this radius. All right, is what you're gonna do. Okay, which is the tangency of the radius is the center of it. Okay, so that's how we do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go cut this out, I'm going to sand it out, and then I'll get my centers back all the way around again, and then what I'm going to do is we'll sand the draft on the sides. All we'll need is, you know, I'll have draft here, and I'll have draft here, so all I'll need is draft here, okay, on both of these sides. All right, so that's where it's easier to cut these out first, and then do the draft on that side. Okay, so let me do that, sand it out. Like I said, you've seen me sand stuff out numerous times. Let me get that done, and I'll show you what we got when we're done. Okay, hang tight. Okay guys, got to cut out shape. All right, got my center line all the way back around again. All right, now next thing I got to do, we got to add draft here. Okay, so this isn't to width. You know, I left it big because I knew we had to do draft. Okay, there's something that's not on the drawing, but it's on the casting. Thank God I got this. Okay, so here's the drawing. It's only 3 views. Okay, there's no top view. Okay, which it's kind of weird to me. I would have left one of these side views out. It's pretty redundant. I think I know why they did it. They should have had a top view on this thing. So with the casting, you can see this rib goes up 3 3/4 width, and then it's 1 inch here, but it's been machined. So we're gonna have to add some machine stock. And I think the reason why they did both side views is because this one's got a notch on it. You know, this one goes straight across. I don't know if you can see that. This one goes straight across. This one's got a notch on the end, which to me is, that's on the drawing, so like, you know, you picked up on that right away. That's a dirty little thing it is. Oh man, that's really dirty. So, good thing you brought the casting, because I probably would have just put a straight 1.25 inch wide boss all the way down there, rib. Okay, so we gotta go 3/4, 3/4. 2 different ways you can do this. Okay, I can measure over 3/8, 3/8, 3/8, 3/8, mark a line, or 3/8 on your trams, or your dividers. All right, I'll show you how to do this. Okay, one of these days we'll do a thing on dividers. Believe me, I don't know half the stuff that you can do with these. You can lay so much stuff out with dividers. You can do math with dividers. It's unbelievable. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go here and we're gonna lay out the radius. We don't have to make a full circle because basically I just want to get over here, right? So you just put your 2 lines there, and that's instead of just marking it out, moving the ruler a couple different ways. Okay, so here's what we'll do. All right, so here's the marks I made. Okay, that way I know they're perfect. Okay. Then all I gotta go is tangent to tangent with a straight edge. Okay, tangent to tangent with a straight edge. Okay, sometimes it's easier that way. Like I said, this way you know everything's the same, right? Because believe me, you're reading a ruler a lot of times, and you're like, I gotta go 3/8, 3/8. You'll put your 3/8 mark, and then you're got 3/16 right, go 3/16, make a mark, and go with a bandsaw, cut it when you're 3/16 inch too light on the one side. It sucks. Been there, done that, So, this one's uncomfortable here. There we go. Okay, I'm going to sand this and be right back with you. Okay, real quick, guys. I didn't sand the draft on there yet. I saw these things. I had the sander set perfectly square, so I wanted to make sure I got these done first. It's really important that thing's square when you get high up. Okay, the higher you get, the more difficult it is to keep things square in that. And I had that set square. I just want to get these done. Okay, real quick, in doing these reasons, I turned the camera on, showing you how to do these things real quick too. All right, so you can see how I laid this out. Okay, got these cut out. So I'm going to do one side at a time, all right? And the reason I'm doing one side at a time, if I would have went over to the band saw and cut both of these out, so I got myself a handle here, okay? I can use these. Now on the other side, I don't, okay? Sucks. So what we can do is we can go ahead and split these, and then I could spot glue another piece on, which would be I could do a handle on there, which would be great, but I gotta keep on going. I don't have time to like spot glue something else on there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get another little piece, a block, and I'm just gonna use double-sided tape. I'm not a big double-sided tape fan, but sometimes it just does come in handy, so we will use it. So that's what I'm gonna do next. I'm gonna pop these pieces that are finished off. I'm going to get a sacrificial, not so much just a scrap piece that I could go ahead put on for a handle. Okay, so that's one of the things you guys got to do is learn how to, I could probably go over there and cut this out and sand it, but, I just, it's safer, putting a little extra handle on it. Make sure that if you put extra, actually, what we could do too, I'll probably just screw something on real quick because it doesn't matter if the parting line, it's going to get glued onto something. So we'll screw a little block on, just take a little, put a couple drywall screws in there, boom, you're done. It'll be way safer to do that. And that's one of the things that we really want to make sure that we're doing with you guys, make sure that, we're doing the safety thing. Okay, so just take the extra time. Screw, nail, you can just nail a piece on too. It's going to come out. There's a hole in there, like I said, Bondo too. Okay, so hang tight guys. I'm going to get that set up and I'll show you when I'm done. Okay guys, this is all I did. I just took a scrap piece of wood and I went ahead and pinned it with just a couple nails. I'll just pop these things right off. All you got to do is take a chisel. Just watch if it's a good one. Don't hit the metal, okay? Take a chisel, pry it off a little bit. And then, I don't want to go that far with my chisel here. I'll probably get a screwdriver. There you go. Pry it off. And then take nails out right away. Carpentry thing, don't leave nails sticking around. I'll tell you a story. I think this is getting a little too long here. I'll tell you a story about when my partner Tony left a couple screws in something for me one time. So that's all you got to do with that. Take them out. Okay. So I got all these pieces. I sanded the draft on this one. All right. So I got all my center lines here. On my center lines, only one thing I'm going to do here before I do this is going to be an important step. Okay. I don't have them drawn on here. Here we go. We got these ribs here. All right. I'll show you something real quick. Okay, I got them laid out here. I got my draft on them. They're 1/4 inch at the top plus a 2 degrees draft. So what I'm going to do is measure from the edge over, put a line from my edge here. I'll lay them out on here. Then what I'll do after I get those lines on there, I'll go ahead and glue these 3 pieces on. Okay. Glue these 3 pieces on, and then those lines will be there. I'll make the ribs, and I'll be able to place the ribs on there, okay, with no problem, okay? So one of the big things I probably forgot to tell you too, all right, so we mark, make sure you mark, which ones of these are the same, okay? And then you got to do, I got them the way they are, hey? It's important to which way also, okay? Is that way. So when I glue these things down, I put my label out here also. That way when I make the other half, that'll be, I'll be able to match the 2 halves on the other half. Okay, so let me, I'm going to lay this out real quick here. Just put those lines on there. I'm going to glue these things on there. And then what I'll do is before I start the other half, I'll pick you up again and show you where I'm going with this thing. And hopefully, I'm kind of hoping, if nothing else goes wrong today, I should be able to get this built, for the rest of the day. I might even see if I could get a start on the other one. We'll start working on that other one too. So, but let me get some lines on here, and I'll glue these things on. Like I said, we'll pick you up in a little bit, okay? Okay, guys. Hey, I got this all clamped up. I'm going to leave it in the clamps for a few hours. I forgot, before I turned the camera off before, we got to get this rib on the other half of the cylinders here, okay? So, I went ahead and, same thing, I had to cut this out again, so you want to keep it in one piece, all right? Got my center lines back where I cut things out. I got my height lines here. I'm going to go cut those, cut them to length, and then what we'll do, get the centers back into those, and then we'll figure out the width of these things. Put the width on, cut the draft on, and go from there. Okay, let me get this done. I'll be right back, okay? Okay, guys, got this cut in half. All right, and here's the thing where, remember I told you to mark, make sure you know what side that you use your thumb gauge or mark gauge on, right? So I got that marked. I'm going to put my center line back up here. We just cut it off, right? So center line back up here. Center line on. Okay. Got the center. So there you go. I got my width now. Now, 2 different things you can do here. And I'm suggesting this, if you're newer, this is probably the better way to do it, is to, especially how you cut this radius right here. Okay, so these might not be perfectly parallel. All right, one of the things you can tell is if it's sitting right, there's a little wobble in this. I probably can't see the wobble. So they're not perfectly parallel. So the best thing to do is to do what's called line seam. So I've got, this is where I want to be, the top, that's my 1.25 inches, okay? So what I could do is just flip that upside down, it's perfectly flat surface. The only thing is, you gotta watch, sand it a little bit, pick it up, sand it a little bit, pick it up. Alright, so I'm gonna put the draft on both these sides. and then glue these on here, set them in clamps, and set them up overnight. So, okay, so I'll get these done. I'll set them up. Like I said, I got some time left. I should be able to finish this. However, my daughter just asked me to go look at her house. She's looking at houses, so she does a lot for me. So I'm gonna go look at a house with her. So that's what happens in my life all the time. So what we'll do is we'll cut this one here, and tomorrow's Tuesday. I'm gonna head up to the foundry tomorrow. I don't know if I'll take the camera. I might take the camera tomorrow. I want to go, so I'll probably pass on the camera this particular time. Wednesday, what we'll do, we'll start the last pattern that we have to build, okay? And this should be built and that all the way. So I'll show you what this looks like all the way built, and from there we'll start the other one, okay? And that one should take me probably a good day and a half to build it. And then what we'll do is I want to finish that one first because I got to make some molds. I'll show you how to make the molds and everything. And then we'll sit down and finish this one in that arm, okay? Then from there, what I got to do, I got to take it up to the foundry, the 3 patterns. I'll take them up to the foundry. He's going to tell me what size board, how to mount and gate them. All right, we'll let you guys in on that too, all right? So anyhow, like I said, we got a little bit of an influx of subscribers. Appreciate everybody that's subscribing. You know, it's one of the things watching this stuff. I always hated when people bug for subscribers. I want to keep it going. All right, push the like button if you can. And explanation of the out video last week. In this town, we have tornado sirens here. And they test them at noon on every first Saturday. So my daughter was taking her dog, that's Finn. She's taking Finn for a walk, and they were on their way home. The siren started up, and Finn just has to do the same. So that's Finn for you. But anyhow, everybody have a good one out there, and everybody stay safe.